Hello, thank you for purchasing the QuickBooks Beginner course from BusinessSchoolTutorials.com. My name is Chris Amundson. I am the president of Accounting Solutions, a 21-year veteran of entrepreneurialism, and I will be presenting this course. This one is different from its competitors in that it provides real-world experience to real-world users. We will certainly teach you the basics on how to use the program, but we'll also focus on the ways that it can get you into trouble. I will show you the ways that the program can help you save money and time, but we'll also discuss the things that you should stay away from like the plague. No accounting program can ever turn you into an experienced accountant or bookkeeper. Before we go any further, let me pose a question. What is the main job of an accountant? What is it that we do? Is it to reconcile bank statements? To complete financial statements? To do tax returns? If you answered yes to any of the following, then I'm sorry to say that you're terribly wrong. The main job of an accountant is to protect his clients from the many horrors that can occur from owning and operating businesses, from the lingering problems that can come from controlling men, money, material, machinery, and marketing. I cannot tell you the number of cases which have been referred to me where a client just like you had a copy of QuickBooks and overstepped their bounds. Clients also who didn't know what they were doing, didn't know a debit from a credit, people who did their own financial statements and took them to an inexperienced accountant. The accountant took their bad numbers, charged them a fee, put them on an income tax return. The government took one look at the tax return, knew that it didn't make any reasonable sense, and audited the client. What's the client going to do now? What are they going to do? I had a case the other day that was referred in to me. A young woman who had a hair and nail salon on the near west side, where this is exactly what happened. She did her work for 2.5 years, brought it into a personal income tax preparer here on the northwest side of the city that just didn't have the proper experience. They charged her a few $100s to grind out a tax return. They didn't verify anything, didn't do a proper due diligence as is required by the Internal Revenue Service. She filed the returns thinking that everything was okay. The service went through its usual process of checking the returns. It obviously red flagged inside their system, and now those 3 years of income tax returns are being audited. She called me on a Friday, brought the returns in on a Monday. I took one look at them and knew that we had a problem. There was simply no way that they were correct. I started pointing out the more obvious mistakes, and her response was pathetically predictable. She had no idea that she had done anything wrong. She thought that just because she had put her work into QuickBooks and had an accountant do the returns, that she was fine. In a perfect world, she may have been correct, but this world is far from perfect. The owner of the business doing the accounting work didn't even know how to perform bookkeeping under the usual public accountancy standards, let alone perform the functions of a true accountant. And the tax preparer she engaged did not have the experience necessary to complete an auditable small business return. To put it simply, she's screwed. No accounting program on the planet will turn you into a proper bookkeeper or accountant that can actually perform the work at the level necessary to protect you and your family. There is nothing easy about doing accounting work. Those of us who do practice the profession properly, those of us who are capable of protecting you from the many horrors that can occur because you own a business, go through 6 years of school, a lovely 2-day exam that few can pass in the first place, let alone on their first try, and then practice our profession for decades until we begin to approach the experience and professionalism necessary to do our jobs competently. But there certainly are many lower-end functions that you can perform competently and if handled properly will not get you into trouble. Invoicing and collecting your accounts receivable are perfect examples of these. Reconciling your bank account and knowing how much money is in your checking account is yet another example. QuickBooks does a marvelous job of these. If you had to call your accountant every time you wanted to know how much money was in your checking account, you probably wouldn't have much in there for very long. If you had to call your accountant every time you had to send out a bill, you'd probably go nuts. The premise of this course and our online school is that we will certainly teach you the mechanics of how to use the program, but we will also provide you with the experience necessary to know what you should and should not do, more importantly, to protect yourself and your company. Rather than just teaching you the mechanics of how to do something, we will also provide the experience that only the real world can provide. In other words, here, we provide wisdom. Let's go over our agenda. In the beginner course, we will show you how to install both a service and a retail business. In doing so, we will discuss the differences from an accounting standpoint in those enterprises and show you how not to fall into some of the most common traps. Once our sample company is set up, we will show you how to set up a customer inside QuickBooks and how to invoice that customer. Next, we will show you how to book and deposit 3 different types of payments, those being a credit card, a check, and cash. We will discuss the proper ways to keep records, as well as some basic accounting theory and the difference between doing your books on a cash or an accrual basis. We will show you how to create a vendor inside QuickBooks and how to book an accounts payable. We will also discuss the practical side of whether or not this is a time-saving activity. Next, we will teach you how to make a payment and clear an accounts payable from the register. We will go back into some accounting theory and explain some basic tax planning strategies, explain the basics on what a financial statement is, and in real-world terms, explain why they are so important to you. We will teach you how to reconcile a checking account and show you why bank recs are so crucial to the continued health of your business. At the end, we will talk about what is practical, given your skill set, to expect from QuickBooks, and what you should expect from a reasonable standpoint for the program to do for your company. At the end, we will introduce payroll taxes and show you why this is so important to the continued health of your enterprise.